Aloha and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here in the H&N Digital Center. I'm Dylan Ancheta alongside our Mark Carpenter.
Yeah, we're tracking a developing story. HPD has opened an attempted murder investigation after an assault at the Mililani Walmart parking lot.
Now, this is a live look at the scene here. This happened just after 9 o'clock. Officials said a 37-year-old woman is in critical condition and a 40-year-old man is in serious.
EMS said one person was apparently run over by a car and then assaulted. The other person also suffered multiple injuries in the attack. At this time, it is unclear what led to the incident, but we had a crew out there and gathered this sound and reaction and account from a witness moments ago.
When I was driving down this lane here, I heard a crash noise and this red car thrust forward. Okay. And I got out of my car to see if anybody was okay or what. And when I got close, I saw a man with a crowbar beating a man that was on the ground.
Oh my God.
Practically to death. I mean, he was all bloodied. The guy with the crowbar was hitting him all over his body, all over his head. The guy was despondent, he didn't know, he was dazed, I don't know if he was coming to the rescue of, there was a woman on the other side of that red car that evidently was hit. And when I went to look over there, oh my God, it was terrible. It looked like her legs were practically severed. One other bystander and I went up to the guy that was hitting the fellow on the ground, pleading with him to stop. Please stop. And he just wouldn't. He was just crazed, just crazed, nonstop beating this fella.
Once again, that was a witness there at the Mililani Walmart. Now, police are still at the scene. Let's take you back out there live. We are still gathering more information. We have put in inquiries with police for the very latest, and be sure to stay tuned to your H&N mobile apps for the very latest there. Still a very active scene there out in Mililani. But for now, let's take you to some other top stories of the day.
In our other top story, an investigation is underway after a fuel leak at the U.S. Space Force's Indo-Pacific complex on the summit of Haleakala. Officials say about 700 gallons of diesel spilled at the Maui Space Surveillance Complex, which is described as a, quote, strategically located national asset that collects data on near-Earth and deep space objects. We're told that due to a mechanical issue, a fuel pump for a backup generator didn't shut off Sunday night. The next morning, a worker discovered the problem and deactivated the pump, but not before 700 gallons of fuel leaked out. The public was notified at 8 o'clock last night. The military is starting cleanup efforts, and the state health department and the EPA have been notified, but they have not issued any statements as of yet. Maui County State Senator Linda Coit released a statement this morning calling the spill completely unacceptable and very concerning for those who live and work near the summit. She adds that any contamination of water and natural resources would have devastating effects and will be holding the Department of Health, EPA, and U.S. Space Force's Indo-Pacific accountable and making sure the community is kept up to date.
Meanwhile, to Red Hill, the Navy has awarded a contract to a firm called Nakupuna Companies to get public input on repurposing Red Hill after defueling is complete. The Navy did not say how much this contract is worth or when this public outreach program will begin. But when it's all done, the top 5 ideas will be further analyzed for feasibility before a final analysis is given to the state and federal regulators. The Navy says removing the tanks entirely is a high-risk project, but they have vowed to not use Red Hill for fuel again. For more on this now, let's bring in our Mililani Richardson. Mahea, thank you for joining us today. We've got two major spills, one at Red Hill and one at Haleakala. Can you talk about the overall awareness that people of Hawaii are having in light of these recent spills?
Well, Dylan, we just got this news release yesterday, and it was sent out by the U.S. Space Force's Indo-Pacific. And I'd have to guess that a lot of people have never even heard of this. This is another branch of the military that is working atop Haleakala. And certainly environmental activists, people who are involved in the Red Hill movement, people who are concerned about water are very surprised, shocked. It's spreading on social media. People in their minds now thinking, what? Another spill, well, now this is a completely separate spill of that 700 gallons of diesel fill that the EPA and now the the EPA and the Department of Health are also overseeing this cleanup. One thing I wanted to mention, Dylan, is that we got a press release about this, and in the past, before Red Hill, I'm wondering if we would have even been notified about something like this. So certainly the fuel spills from 2021 at Red Hill have definitely raised the awareness amongst the general public and amongst the different branches of the military that people need to be aware of when something like this happens.
Yeah, well, maybe this is a step in the right direction for their transparency. For people who are vaguely unfamiliar with Haleakala, can you touch briefly culturally, how important is Haleakala to the Native Hawaiian people? And for something like this to happen there, how major is it?
Well, you know, people are very familiar with the controversy at Mauna Kea with the telescopes, and there is a similar controversy with the telescopes and the military activities atop Haleakala. Some may remember Uncle Charlie Maxwell. He fought against telescopes and any type of non-cultural activity at Haleakala. So folks after him, people who were inspired by Uncle Charlie, certainly would be very upset by something like this. And so this is just another spark in the fire for the movement, for people who are trying to have sensitive places like Haleakala be a lot more aware, be a lot more environmentally friendly for cultural activities up there at the Mauna.
Yeah, Mahe, I also understand that you've been closely following the AFFF spill investigation. What's the latest there?
Right. And so for Red Hill, there's actually, you know, two major spills that we're talking about. 2021, that's the massive 20,000 gallon fuel spill that happened. And then on the anniversary, around the anniversary of the Red Hill fuel spills, there was another spill of toxic firefighting foam, about 1,300 gallons that happened from the Red Hill fuel facility. So right now, we are still waiting for the investigative report to come out. I just talked to the Environmental Protection Agency. They said they're expecting that investigative report to come out February 6th. Now, does that mean that the report just goes to the EPA and doesn't get sent to everyone else? They weren't really sure. So we've been waiting since last November for this investigative report to come out, and also the video of that toxic firefighting foam spill to come out. I have heard that the video shows that the firefighting foam goes under a doorway and then goes out the tunnel. It's a very slow leak. It's not the dramatic burst of fuel that we've been showing on the news from the fuel spills from 2021, but there is video. I'm told it is 11 hours long, and that the investigative report, at least locally by the Red Hill Task Force, has been completed. But now that investigative report is in the Pentagon and the Department of Defense, and that needs to be reviewed and then reviewed again. And so at this point, we really don't know when that investigative report will come out.
Our Mililani Richardson giving us a full recap on all the environmental concerns around Hawaii. Thank you so much, Mahea, for your insight.
In national news, funeral services today for 29-year-old Tyree Nichols, who was brutally beaten by police. Jared Hill has a look at the ceremony.
Mourners gathered at the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church in Memphis to say a final goodbye to Tyree Nichols amid calls for police reform.
We have come with heavy hearts that can only be healed by the grace of God, full transparency, accountability, and comprehensive legislative reform.
Last night, family and friends of the 29-year-old dad who loved to skateboard said they're focused on celebrating his life even as they continue to fight for justice.
My little brother didn't deserve none of this.
Parts of the South, including here in Memphis, are covered under a sheet of ice, causing travel delays, which in turn delayed Nichols' funeral by a few hours. Vice President Kamala Harris was among those delayed. Nichols' funeral follows revelations that 4 of the 5 fired Memphis police officers facing murder charges for his death had been reprimanded or suspended in the past.
Anyone with a suspension record like that should certainly not have been on the force, certainly not on an elite force.
The Memphis Police Department says it will release more audio and video of the violent encounter after its investigation concludes in the coming weeks. Jared Hill, CBS News, Memphis.
New today, the FBI searched President Biden's vacation home in Delaware and found no other classified documents. Scott McFarland has the latest.
President Biden's personal lawyer says no documents with classified markings were found during the FBI's search Wednesday of Mr. Biden's Delaware beach home. The president's lawyer, Bob Bauer, issued a statement saying the search was conducted with the coordination and cooperation of Mr. Biden's attorneys and lasted more than 3 hours. The statement says, quote, consistent with the process in Wilmington, the DOJ took for further review some materials and handwritten notes that appear to relate to his time as vice president.
The president's been fully cooperative, and he's directed his team to be fully cooperative. And that's because he believes in the independence of the Justice Department.
In January, investigators found documents with classified markings and retrieved handwritten notes at the president's Wilmington, Delaware residence. On Tuesday, it was revealed that in November, the FBI also searched Mr. Biden's former D.C. office at the Penn Biden Center, where a number of documents were discovered. The issue of how the nation's highest-ranking officials handle sensitive documents intensified last month when several records marked classified were found at the home of former Vice President Mike Pence in Indiana. Pence had previously assured CBS News he had been more thorough upon leaving the White House.
Our staff reviewed all of the materials in our office and in our residence to ensure that there were no classified materials that left the White House or remained in our possession.
And meanwhile, a special counsel investigation continues into the retention of roughly 300 documents with classified markings by former President Donald Trump at his Florida estate. Scott McFarland, CBS News, Washington.
Hawaii County Police have released the body camera video capturing the deadly shooting of a pit bull by an officer in Ka'u. A warning, some viewers may find this disturbing. That gunshot killed a pit bull named Kai. The dog died in his owner's arms. The officer says he was trying to deliver a restraining order when 5 pit bulls came running out. The officer reportedly commanded the dogs to get back, but one tried to bite his face. A professional dog trainer says the officer may have been too quick to pull the trigger. The pet owners told us they plan to take legal action, and the officer is still on duty pending an internal investigation. Governor Josh Green has filed a harassment complaint against Republican State Senator Kurt Favela. This all stems from comments made about Hawaii's chief housing coordinator. Rick Dasog has the story.
I would deviate from the plan.
The complaint was prompted by remarks State Senator Kurt Favela made at a Hawaiian Homes Commission meeting last week about Governor Josh Green's housing chief, Nani Medeiros. Favela compared her to the devil and questioned her commitment to the Hawaiian people.
Nani has nothing or no knowledge about the Hawaiian people. I'm a kid, she says she's Hawaiian. Just remember now, the devil also was an angel. Remember that. So just because you're a Hawaiian doesn't mean you have the passion for the people.
Medeiros said Favela's comments crossed the line.
Immediately, I got very upset. I was shocked that I was hearing what I was hearing. It was upsetting. It made me angry. In Hawaiian families, when you come after somebody in that family for especially their Hawaiian-ness or challenge what they've done, you're challenging their whole family, you're challenging their history.
Before she became the state's housing chief, Medeiros worked with Housing the Homeless. She even worked with Favela on one of the administration's homeless projects in his district.
So I thought he was a friend, and he's made no effort to apologize.
Hawaii News Now reached out to Favela for his story, but he declined to be interviewed. In a letter to Senate President Ron Kochi, Governor Josh Green says Favela's comments violate several of the Senate's anti-harassment rules, barring offensive language about a person's race.
I will not tolerate anyone from my team being treated this way. In fact, I won't tolerate anyone in the state being treated this way.
The complaint also says it's not the first time Favela has been accused of bullying the governor's staff. Administration officials point to comments Favela made in the same hearing, criticizing Hawaiian Homeland's chair, Ikaika Anderson.
He lied 5 times to us. What's the hearings? I'm not going to say mislead. He lied.
The conflict comes as some lawmakers are raising concerns about money that they set aside for Native Hawaiian housing is going to be used. But political experts say that's no excuse for Favela's alleged behavior.
I think when it comes to personal attacks, that really isn't appropriate, and it just creates a more difficult governing environment, where people begin to develop these personal animosities. It doesn't really help us develop good public policy.
Under the Senate's rules, the Senate president will likely make an initial determination on the merits of the complaint and can refer it to a bipartisan committee for further investigation, which can lead to disciplinary action. The Senate president says he's received the complaint and has spoken with Favela. He says he looks forward to meeting with the governor over the matter. Rick Daysog, Hawaii News Now.
Well, February marks Mahina Olelo Hawaii, or Hawaiian Language Month. The popular local band, The Green, is putting on a contest. The challenge, to translate and perform one of your favorite songs by them. We spoke to Brad Watanabe of The Green to learn more about it.
I wanted to do something fun for our fans and to also encourage people, to use their Olelo Hawaii skills. Maybe, it was something that they took in high school a long time ago or in college, and maybe it's something they haven't used in a while, and so I wanted to do something where it made our fans think, oh, maybe I can do something with this Olelo, and also to encourage new people to go and learn the language, because I think that's the only way we'll really be able to revitalize the languages, to everybody just learn a little bit, and use Olelo Hawaii every day. I would love to see some really fluent people and maybe some kumu and actual hakumele enter and do the full song. But I wanted anybody to be able to enter. So if you only know a few words, or you can even look it up in the dictionary, translate a few words, a few lines, and mix it in with the English, that's encouraged as well.
All you have to do is translate, take a video of you performing the song, upload it to Instagram using the hashtags Enuhimai and Mahina Olelo Hawaii in the caption, and tag The Green 808, and they'll get back to you. There are 3 grand prizes, including a Kamaka ukulele. You can learn more about the contest at hawaiinewsnow.com. Also celebrating Hawaiian Language Month, Zippies. They're celebrating with new menus. Throughout February, diners will be able to view the Zippies menu in both English and Olelo Hawaii. They're hoping it'll encourage some to order in Hawaiian and to normalize using the language in everyday life.
Oh, a couple of great contests right there. I mean, to just get more Olelo out into the forefront. But how about the pressure on the Green contest? Not only do you need to translate it, but you need to send a video of yourself performing one of their songs, which is more difficult.
I don't know.
But taking a look outside right now through our tower cam after so much rain and crazy weather over the last several days, clearing up. Hopefully it stays that way. For more, let's turn to Guy Hagi.
There's going to be some spotty showers, mainly in the afternoon, with some high-level clouds, too. But still, it's going to be relatively dry, save for those afternoon pop-up showers over interior spots. And some of those showers could be briefly heavy. That's going to be the case through tomorrow as well. But you can see, for the most part, we're not going to see a lot of organized rainfall until the trade winds come back. So it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a wet start to the weekend, especially for Oahu and Kauai, and then Saturday morning too. But again, leeward sides are only going to get some passing showers, kind of blown over the mountain ranges from those breezy winds. And then you can see, for the most part, that trade wind weather pattern with those windward and Malka showers will continue into the middle part of next week. But again, rainfall totals will be light to moderate at best. So a fair bit of sunshine, drier conditions, but we also got to deal with haze and fog today and tomorrow with those variable winds. And then that should clean up as the trade winds pick up over the weekend. But also, there's going to be an increase in those windward and Malka showers.
Thank you so much for that, Guy. It's time to check out what the internet is talking about today. Mark, sports memorabilia. Take a look at this. The famed Lakers jersey, number 24, is going up for auction. Now, bidding will soon begin on a jersey from the late, great Kobe Bryant's MVP season. The Lakers legend wore it 25 times in the 07-08 campaign, and it'll also come with photos, artwork, and books from that year. Initial projections show it could go for, get this, $7 million.
Yeah, that's at the very least. Something game worn from Kobe during such a remarkable year. from the NBA great. It could go much higher than $7 million.
Just a cool $7 million.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Speaking of sports legends, how about an announcement from someone this morning?
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good.
Okay. That was Tom Brady posting that video on social media this morning. Here we go again. 7-time Super Bowl champion, widely considered the greatest quarterback of all time. He announced the retirement this morning. 45-year-old stepping away after 23 seasons. He is the league's all-time leader in passing yards and touchdowns. Guarantee Hall of Famer on the first ballot. He says it's for good, but we'll see. I mean, the immediate reaction from everyone on social media when that video came out was like, okay, let's check back with you in a month or so. He did this at the same time last year, on the same date to be exact.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And he came back 40 days later. So as the offseason progresses, we'll stay tuned.
I wish I could retire on this day. Guys, let's go ahead and check out some good news now with our Casey Lund.
Aloha from the Honolulu Zoo. So much to look forward to in 2023. Some new animals, the return of educational programs, and big fundraisers that are really important for the Honolulu Zoo Society that does a lot to support the zoo and everybody that comes and visits. And we are specifically in the Keiki Zoo today. I'm here with Charles Lee. He's the Director of Education for the Honolulu Zoo Society, and Shelby Carlos, Director of Community Engagement. And we have one of the newest exhibits here. Charles, tell us who we're looking at and what's happening in this adorable situation here.
So Bethany is working with our 4 new piggies. We have Big Red, the small one on the far left. We also have Winter, who's the whitest one, and then Hubba and Bubba. So they're all named after gum.
These were purchased with money that you guys had through fundraisers, through memberships, and brought here from a farm in Waimanalo. And tell us really quickly what Bethany's doing.
So she is target training with the pigs right now. This is a training exercise our keepers do with many of our animals, and basically by asking them to follow a target, they are then given a reward, whether it's a treat or cuddles or a general good job, but it helps us better take care of them.
That's going to be the cutest thing you'll see on TV today, I think. I want to talk to Shelby Carlos again a little bit about the important work that you guys do, education programs. We've talked a lot about that earlier today on Sunrise, but one of the cool things that's finally coming back to the zoo is the big fundraiser, Zoofari, happening April 29th. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're super excited to not only be having our gala this year, but to have it back at the Honolulu Zoo. It's been about 12 years since we've had it on the grounds of the Honolulu Zoo, so we're really excited to do that to raise money for our primates.
Primate Island that we showed folks earlier this morning, again, on Sunrise. And one other fundraiser that you can do right now ahead of Valentine's Day. Let's show this. Tell me about Love Bites really quickly.
So you can purchase a bug, either a mealworm or a cricket, or even a vegetable if the bugs are a little bit harder for you, and send a virtual card to your loved one or not so special someone.
A donation of $5, $10, $20, and that will go to the Honolulu Zoo Society. And again, so much of the important work, I'm going to step away from that you guys do for the zoo, for the young people that come here. Really important to support them. You can also get yourself a Honolulu Zoo Society membership. All the information to do that is online at hawaiinewsnow.com. For now, we'll send things back to you.
Mahalo nui, Casey. So a single worm, is that part of you can purchase a single worm?
I guess so.
Go to the website for further details. That does it for us on This Is Now. Much more news ahead on First at 4.